Alright, so today I wanted to cover a question that I heard the other day. Lately, the big question's been, why are people leaving Atlanta? And to be honest with you, I don't think that they're necessarily leaving Atlanta. I think that they're just moving to the suburbs. So I want to introduce myself first. I'm Nick Alexander, and I'm with the John Cook Group at Keller Williams. We're a top real estate team in the North Atlanta and North Georgia areas, and we'd love to be your real estate resource of choice when you move to the North Atlanta or North Georgia areas. We're always here to help, and I wanted to dive in today on why people may be leaving Atlanta for a slower paced life in the suburbs. First off, I want to get this out of the way. I'm not saying Atlanta is a bad place to live by any means. The convenience, maybe the fast-paced life, the beauty, the history, there's so many good aspects to downtown Atlanta that I love personally. I just noticed that some people prefer the suburban life. They're moving out for a slower paced life. There might be some other incentives that I wanted to make sure that you all know about when moving outside of the main hub in Georgia into those metro areas. So I wanted to explain what's so appealing about the suburban life that has people leaving Atlanta in flocks. All right, so first off, let's go over some of the main suburbs in the North Atlanta areas. So you've got Cumming, Woodstock, Roswell, Dahlonega, Dawsonville, Gainesville, Suwanee, Johns Creek, Lawrenceville. So many fantastic suburbs outside of Atlanta, just on the north end. I can continue to go over some of these suburbs, but there's so many to list, and I definitely want to do a video on which ones I like, maybe the underrated ones, and what each one has to offer here soon. All right, so let's circle back to the main question. Why are people leaving Atlanta? And to be honest, there's so many different reasons. So whether that's affordability, a lot of people are moving to the suburbs so they can afford that new construction home. There's incentives in these rural areas as well when it comes to loan products. For example, USDA might be out there, which is a 100% financing loan product. So many more appealing aspects, including schools. And for all school material, I usually recommend niche.com, but there's plenty of high-rated schools throughout Georgia. In fact, the North Atlanta area and some of the suburbs have some of the top schools in the nation. Let's talk more about home affordability and new construction housing out in the suburbs when compared to in-city. Once you get outside of the perimeter of Atlanta, which we call 285, you've got OTP. ITP is inside the perimeter, OTP is outside the perimeter, and as you can keep going out, the more your dollar is going to get you for your house. So you get more house the farther you go out in these rural areas. For example, we are seeing new construction under $450,000 in Dawsonville, in Dahlonega, certain parts of Gainesville, and other areas too. One aspect that I think has become important to families moving outside of a major city would be things to do and developments there, how far you are from the grocery store. The developments in North Atlanta have continued to grow. There's so many more things to do, and just a couple that you could look up are Avalon, Halcyon, the Cumming City Center, downtown Gainesville, and there's so many more. There's actually one huge project called The Gathering at South Forsyth that's coming soon, which may even bring an NHL hockey team back to Atlanta. I think that this would be great for our community and super cool. I'm looking forward to doing more videos just on this project specifically. Not only are all of these great reasons so far to move to the suburbs, but people are having families, and affordability for homes is extremely important. Being in great school districts is extremely important. And just being in neighborhoods is also important to families and growing families. And we tend to see a lot of people move outside the city for those very reasons. Now, most of these suburbs are going to offer convenience to get back to the city. We have MARTA, which is our main public transportation back into the city and into the airport. A lot of these suburbs that I named earlier are actually only 45 minutes or so away. Roswell being about 20, minutes. Sandy Springs is 10 minutes. You've got Norcross, which is maybe 20 minutes, coming 30 to 45 minutes depending on where you are. So the convenience to Atlanta is still there while we have all this public transportation and main highways to get down to Atlanta in a straight shot. A few other appealing aspects to moving to the suburbs, in my opinion, would be the lower density that cities are approving for housing. So you're not going to have your city house that might be dilapidated and falling in, or your neighbor's house that might be dilapidated and falling in. You're not going to see that being tore down and then put a high-rise next to it, or a fiveplex housing. There's lower density being approved out in these suburbs, which is keeping the space, the greenery, everything still there. With all the developments that are happening in the North Atlanta and North Georgia areas, it's bringing a lot of jobs our way. Now, I know that we're in 2024 and work from home life is accepted for most companies. We're seeing a lot of that. You get the more house for your dollar out in the rural areas, meaning that you can work from home. It's not like we don't have high-speed internet here, so there's plenty of work from home friends and family that I have that used to have to travel in town and go into the office 5 days a week, who may only have to do that once a week or not at all. Now, if you don't plan on having a growing family, or maybe you're retired, there's also some aspects for you on why the suburbs could be a plus. I've noticed in certain areas, especially around, say, Lake Lanier or Lake Altoona, or on the south side, Lake Oconee, a lot of retirees are moving to these lakes because they're quite beautiful. There are things to do and plenty of things to see and enjoy the lake life out there. I noticed that this is one appealing aspect to moving to the suburbs, is get close to that lake life they may be seeking for. Now, in the city, you've got a mix of homeowners and renters, but here in the suburbs, I would say that a lot of folks actually own their homes, and rent seems to be substantially cheaper out in these areas. There are new apartment complexes being built, and they're beautiful. I mean, the amenities are amazing, and there's so many advantages to cheaper rent in general from, just affordability. But the rent seems to be a whole lot cheaper as you move outside of Metro Atlanta. And we have plenty of developments in apartment complexes that are new and coming. So with all this said, it's maybe overwhelming to someone listening to this that is thinking, okay, oh my gosh, well, there's so many benefits to the suburbs. Well, which one do I move to? You said so many earlier in this video. I'm going to be doing like a breakdown and going over which suburbs may be the top suburbs outside of Metro Atlanta. Also maybe some of the underrated suburbs. So in videos to come, I should be going over and explaining what each suburb offers and which one might be a great fit for you. Of course, if you're moving to the North Atlanta, North Georgia area, I'll be with you, and we can travel to these places together, and we can go over all of the benefits that each one has to offer. Well, I wanted to thank you guys for tuning in and listening to this today. If you found it beneficial and you learned something and want to see more videos, please give us a like, drop a comment, subscribe. That would be extremely helpful, and I appreciate you guys tuning in. See you on the next video.